We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Take me to the prom. That prom. It is the prom episode of The OC. Here we are, season 3. Oh, Joe's taking off his headphones. The camera shut off.
That is so not what I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to do the prom musical number from Not Another Teen Movie.
No, I mean, I could do that too, but that would be too easy. Those lyrics were already written.
Prom tonight.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure, and I could have this totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure Ben Folds either wrote that song or was the person who did all the instrumentation for that song.
Or both,
which,
really.
Like, yeah, it could be both. It definitely, there are like 3 or 4 parts that are like, oh, this is Ben Folds. Like, especially there's like a bass part that kicks in, and I'm like, that is definitively like the Ben Folds bass tone that he used in like old Ben Folds 5 and early solo Ben Folds stuff. But yeah, I was very excited. We had a prom episode. I thought, at last, just a good, feel-good, no drama episode of The OC. Well, Joe, this episode laughed in my face as the character assassination just continues across the board. I literally wrote, there is only 2 episodes left, and this feels like just one drawn-out, painful, also awful train wreck of a season. This might be one of my least favorite seasons of television. This is truly bad. I'm very excited for us to dive into season 4 with some old. We have not had. Side note, we have not had a single guest for season 3. Not as now. Also, our recording schedule has been kind of sporadic, so I haven't reached out to that many people, but I did hit up a couple old fan favorites to be like, hey,
season 4.
We're hitting season 4. We only got 60 more episodes. We need to bring back some of the guests.
Here's the thing, Matt. I think that it would be a violation of the Geneva Convention, and Amnesty International would probably write to us to subject other people to this season. It's self-inflicted, and we already need to see analysts for this, but not a third person. Let's save other people from subjecting to this terrible season. Yeah. All right.
So let's knock out the easiest thing to talk about this episode, which is just the adults. The adult storyline is almost like non-existent.
Until.
Well, yeah. So Sandy and Kirsten are still a little rocky after last week's episode, but they agree to let all of the kids come to the house for prom photos, and then they're hanging out with Julie Cooper and Summer's dad and reminiscing about this, that, and the other thing. And then Summer's dad gets a phone call that implies that something not great is happening. And we later find out that Sandy's about to be investigated by an ethics board about Garrett, who I think is
the evil dude who's like a doctor.
the doctor who Matt was trying to blackmail.
Yeah.
So I'm of two minds here because I feel like this is a big nothing burger. We know that Sandy has all this evidence. And it's like either he was intending to bring this evidence to the front anyway and gets off because he has the evidence to put Garrett away for good, or he has to sell the Newport group and it's a big like, oh no.
But it's also
the
not
Newport
clear.
Group.
It's not clear what he's doing. What we're
no.
Yeah, he just has the information, is kind of sitting on it. So it's like, what is happening? Like truly, I do not remember what happens because I think it gets resolved in the next episode.
Well, you said that the next episode, Man of the Hour, is kind of like the end of that, and then we have the graduation episode, which is the end of Marissa. But like the Seth and Anna stuff is all mostly dumb and forgettable, and we don't have to talk about that. Even the Marissa stuff is not that important. I feel like all of my notes throughout this entire episode are about Summer and Volchek. I think that those are the two people that this episode is most about in my mind. So with Summer, she is just like jumping to these insane conclusions. And I actually wrote that the episode almost makes me go backwards on all of the goodwill that Summer has accrued over 3 seasons, specifically when Anne like literally flies 2,000 miles to try to explain the situation to her, and she just like won't even let her talk. Like she's so like dead set on what's going on. So that was like that. I was like, oh, this is not sitting well with me. I also find it very hard to believe that Taylor would have been invited to the photos for prom, but sure. That just seems like a necessary plot detail of like her getting roped into this.
Well, you know, she's like second tier besties with Summer.
She's second tier besties with Summer. Also, I guess Summer only has a date because of her. That is a storyline that feels like it didn't age great. With Summer dating a K-pop star that's also the model for anime characters, and like the idea that he doesn't speak English, the weird poses that he strikes in all of her photos,
the haircut.
Only the Asian girls at the school knowing who he is. Yeah. Like, there's just a lot of jokes where I'm like, this is all striking out for me as far as comedy goes.
And where do we know where this actor is from? Because I know he's done a movie recently. Like,
look, I don't know the answer to that. I also think that there's a joke that I just don't understand because I don't watch American Idol.
Sure.
Because there's just some girl that like Marissa just chats up about being on American Idol, and I had to Google it to figure out what the hell this was. And I guess one of the season 5 contestants of American Idol was from the OC. So they were just like, of course she would go to Newport. Let's just write her in as a student from Newport who had to leave school this semester to be on American Idol, but she's coming back in time for prom. And it's like, man, talk about a joke that only works in that exact minute. Because like, even at that point in time, there's no way that by season 5 you thought that any contestant on American Idol that wasn't directly the winner, and even then has like more than like a 5-second lifespan in the public eye.
Yeah.
Like I was like, who is this person? I feel like I'm supposed to know who this person is, and I had to Google it. I was like, this is insane.
Okay, I totally found him. All right, so his name is Justin Chan, and he was recently in a film in 2021 called Blue Bayou that actually got some critical acclaim as an indie film about a Korean American man who lives in the Louisiana Bayou.
Okay,
but he also was in. See, that I was like, I knew him from other things. He was in he was in a one season TV show called Deception, which was about a guy who's a magician who works for the FBI.
Perfect. Love it.
And he was in The New Girl for one episode. I'm looking at his IMDb page, but he was also, there he is. He was in the Twilight movies. That's right. He was the fucking Asian character in the Twilight movies.
The one.
Yes, exactly. The one dude. That's where I was like, that's where most people will probably know him from.
The summer subplot continues with her just getting drunker and drunker throughout the episode to kill the pain of Seth being with Anne at the prom, which is just actually gives me one of the few genuine laughs in this episode, which is when Anne's like, the plan is working, and they look over and the pantomiming that Summer is doing as she's like, you don't know what she's saying, but the implication is that she's just discussing all the ways she wants to hurt Seth. And it is so over the top with like her hand motions and her facial expressions that like she is the funniest person in the show.
Yeah.
It actually like bums me out that that's Rachel Bilson, right? Like the Rachel Bilson hasn't really done that much comedy, because I think that she could crush as like a sitcom lead. Like she just has that sensibility that just seems like it's really lost. But she wins prom queen for the second year in a row, gives a drunken speech, kisses the K-pop star, falls off the boat.
Which was actually pretty funny. I was like, I knew we saw it coming, but it was actually pretty funny.
Can we just say this prom is actually pretty dope? This pirate themed prom looks awesome. Well, I must say,
Seth hits it out of the park. He was like, "Oh, you made the cave from the Goonies."
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what it looks like. But hey, I love the Goonies and I love the cave in the Goonies. So this was like a home run for Matt Kelly. The most unintentionally hilarious lines all come from Volchek, however.
Yeah.
Who, like, my favorite line is he just goes, "I'm going to go smoke some kush."
Yeah. Okay.
Like, oh, watch out for the cool guy at the prom.
Smoke some kush.
And then him and this girl go off. They're gone for a really long time. Marissa's just an idiot here. Like he's gone to the bathroom for a really long time too. He's certainly not like stealing liquor and money from people at the Cohen's house.
Yes,
this is where he steals all of the money for this post prom that Taylor has thrown together. But the most I laughed at how stupid his speech is when like it's like a PSA speech where she catches him cheating on him and he just goes, "What do you expect from me? I'm the bad boy." Like he's just like it's just like this weird exposition city. He only speaks in exposition this entire episode. At the end of the episode, he also speaks to Ryan in exposition where he's just like, "And maybe I just lied to lure you here. Maybe I stole that money to get you here so I could beat you up. Maybe that's what I did. Maybe that's what I did, Ryan." You're just like, what is this?
See,
yeah, it's like, what is this character? Like, it is so cartoonishly evil that it's like the only glimmer of joy that I've gotten out of the last episode is it's so outrageous.
Also, did you forget? Like, there was a point where I was like, and I again, like, this is funny for me because I've seen the show several times. I was like, oh, that's right. His first name is Kevin. Like,
yeah, his name is Kevin. That is, she's like, "Where's Kevin, everybody?" And I thought, who the fuck is Kevin?
Wait, we're putting another person in this fucking mess. I'm like, no, it's Volchek.
But yeah, so they're at the post prom. Seth tells Summer the truth while she's too drunk to possibly remember any of this. So that might come up again next week. Who knows? And then Taylor starts freaking out. And that's when Ryan, there was like a slight implication that Ryan was going to get back with Teresa before that. There was definitely some flirtiness at least happening between the two of them.
Teresa said it. There's too much history. There's too much history there.
So my girlfriend said something to me almost a year ago now, and I think I see what she's talking about.
Sure.
I have a prediction of what she's talking about, which is that she says, I forget what character she was talking about, but she said, I feel like they just introduced this character later on in the season to give Ryan someone to date after Marissa dies, when Teresa's right the fuck there as an option in a post Marissa world. And like, now that I'm watching how they're handling this Teresa thing and knowing that Marissa literally has 2 more episodes of like being on this side of the dirt, I'm just like, yeah, why? Like, I'm just like, why wouldn't you keep Teresa around? That seems like a really logical person to like push Ryan towards, especially because she is also like this female Ryan. Like, she got herself out of the situation and the circumstances of Chino and is like doing really well for herself, and she's like a boss ass bitch. Like, when he goes to visit her last
she
episode,
just keeps getting promoted and promoted.
Yeah, like she has like a fucking housekeeper babysitter or whatever.
I think that's just her mom. Okay, hold on, racism. I think
no, when he knocks on the door, because the mom would know Ryan when he knocks on the door at the hotel.
That's right. That's right.
She's like, "Oh, Mrs. Teresa isn't here right now." Like,
but like, how? But also, like, how old is she? Right? Because why would she go to the prom? How old is she supposed to be? Too. It doesn't make sense that she has enough money.
That's also an issue. That's not. But anyway, like I said, Ryan goes to get the money from Volchek. He goes there non-violently, and Volchek says, not on my watch, non-violently. And then they get into a brawl. Cut to black.
They're like, no,
Moody
violently.
Music.
We're doing this violently.
Yeah, we're doing this violently.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not what I wear.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why did my facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
We complained last week that the soundtrack was quite lacking. Not this time, baby.
Absolutely.
We got a ton of songs. We got a ton of great songs. I actually struggled choosing between 3 songs for what was the song of the episode for me.
Okay.
Episode starts off with the Briefs getting hit on at the park, getting hit on at the bank by the Briefs. Plays in the very beginning when Ryan and Seth are on the boardwalk. Branston's Earthquakes and Sharks plays when everybody's starting to ask each other about going to prom. This is the most OC band name I've ever read. Someone Still Loves You, Boris Yelton, with their song Oregon Girl plays when Summer agrees to go to prom with the K-pop. Sid Matters to All of You plays as they're taking their prom photos, and that shows up again later in the episode. And then at the prom, we get 2 songs, and I'm going to do them in reverse order. Embrace Can't Come Down plays as a slow dance, but the song that plays when they walk into prom is Random by fucking Lady Sovereign, which, I mean, I screamed. I yelled out loud because the fact that Lady Sovereign is on an OC soundtrack, that's what I ultimately went with on this one, but I was leaning towards Branston and the Briefs songs as well. Because they were used really well in their scenes, and I used to love Branston. I couldn't believe that they were on the soundtrack to this show. But that Lady Sovereign song is just like the perfect song to kick off prom for me.
Nice.
What did you go with, Joe?
I went with what was the song that they were getting ready to? That show.
Getting ready. Oh, the To All of You by Sid Matters.
To All of You by Sid Matters is my pick because it's used so well. And,
it is used really well.
And like the montage of it all, I love the like all. First of all, the girls' dresses were really great. Like Summer, Anna, and Marissa, all of them have really great dresses, and it just like fits so well. And then when it gets used again, when like Marissa's holding that bottle at the pier, I'm like, oh my god, this is also a good way to like, it's tonally different, but like the music still works. So for me, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one.
Joe, I think that's a good choice too. Talking about all the great pop culture things that happen around inside of the OC, let us talk about things in pop culture that we've watched. I don't think I've brought this up on the show already, but I did see that it's actually been added to, I want to say Prime. So now's the prime time to go watch it. American Fiction, a Best Picture nominee, just a delight, just an absolute, like, I would say not since Bamboozled has there been such a hard-hitting commentary on like, on a commentary on like the way being black in America often has to mean that you play up the worst stereotypes possible to make a living. It's heartbreaking but funny, it's charming, it's fun. It's definitely elements of Bamboozled by Spike Lee, and I also think it's got elements of Hollywood Shuffle from the 80s. I think every decade or so we get a movie like this, and I think American Fiction might be my favorite of any of them. Where it just really holds a big ass mirror to the types of roles and career paths we set up for certain communities. So highly recommend. Check out American Fiction. How about you, Joe?
I am making my way through just getting caught up on the show, and it's something that I'm like have been low-key obsessed with, and I can't find too many people who have watched it, but it's a show on Max. It's called Gerard Carmichael Reality Show.
Okay.
And Gerard Carmichael, who is a comedian, had like a network television show, network sitcom on NBC for like 3 years, The Carmichael Show. He kind of exploded a couple years ago because his Emmy-winning stand-up special called Rothaniel, basically he came out. Like, it was this kind of stream of consciousness. Like, it's not like any stand-up I've ever seen before. Like, he's basically just having like a self-deprecating conversation with the audience, but he comes out officially as gay, and so this show takes place kind of in dealing with the aftermath directly after that. And what's interesting about it is that it's a reality show, but it's also like, it's difficult to watch because it is so intrusive, but it's at Gerard Carmichael's like insistence, right? Like, he feels that the only way that he can be authentic is in front of a camera. And so he likes having the cameras around because that's the only way he knows that he can hold himself accountable to be a real person, to be real, period. Yeah. Like, you see him go on Grindr dates. He like talks about, like, you see him like literally several times cheat on his boyfriend. There's some uncomfortable stuff with his parents, especially his mom, who was a big feature in the stand-up special, because she's like a very Christian woman that can't come to terms with his being gay. And it is just like a fascinating experiment, to the point where like we're watching it and it's like, are we also participating in the, like, it makes me uncomfortable, but like I'm also watching it, so like I'm participating, I'm complicit in that. And it's a thinker. That's the other reason why I'm taking my time with it, because it's like I have to be in the right space to like watch it. But it's a fascinating show.
I feel that way about a lot of dramas. So throw the drama in with reality television. Like I can binge a sitcom, no problem. You know, like give me a pizza and some and you know, like something to drink, and I'll like sit on the couch for 4 or 5 hours just like watching episodes of a sitcom. I'm glad that we never do more than 2 episodes at a time.
Sure.
With something like the OC, because it is watching something that's like emotionally draining and dramatic and heavy, even if it's dumb and bad, still is just like, it's too much. You know what I mean? Like it's too much. Like even when I watched like something like 13 Reasons Why, when that first season came out,
my God.
every like 2 episodes I had to move on
You're
to
the
something
13th
else
reason.
to like yeah, like I had to move on to like another thing to watch to like lighten the mood before I could move forward with more episodes. So I get that. I get having to like parse out stuff that's of that sort. You know what I mean? Even some of those reality shows like a 90 Day Fiance or like a Vanderpump Rules, like
Sure, yeah.
It's not fun sometimes watching it, and you need that break if you're going to continue. Well, Joe, speaking of things that aren't fun to watch, but we're going to continue forward, season 3 of the OC. We got 2 more left. We got this. 1 more recording session and we're all done, and we can go to the green pastures that is season 4.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.